All right, so we're going to get started here. We have a special guest tonight that I'm going to let Goodwin talk about here in a second. And real quick, got a train horn though. All right, so we have some awesome sponsors. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, they are on the website. You can click on the big sponsor logo at the top of the page. Or you can go to idereic.org and type in /sponsors at the end of that. Okay, so here's the thing with our sponsors, guys. They're all members first, okay? I get a lot of people always coming in here. They come to one meeting and they're like, let me give you some money and I'll put your name up on the logo, and then they have no intent on ever coming back. Okay, I don't allow that. Otherwise, we probably have like 27 sponsors up there. All right, everybody has to be members first. We make sure they're cool, then they can be a sponsor. Okay? So, if you're a sponsor, raise your hand. Okay, let's give them a round of applause, please. So if you want to know who the cool kids are, those people that just raised their hand. Okay? So check them out, please. At least give them a chance first. If you have any in need of any of their services like escrow, money, deals, all kinds of stuff, solar, security, all that kind of stuff. Okay? Check them out. Also, before I get to this, I'm going to do something new here. I'm going to start pulling people up at the beginning of these meetings that did deals this week. So who did a deal this week? All right, come on up. Come on, give them a round of applause.
Well, it's an escrow, so.
That's fine, it's an escrow. You made an offer, it got accepted? Perfect. All right, go ahead, stand here. State your name to the camera and for the audience.
Luis Ortega.
Luis Ortega. All right, Luis, tell us about your deal. What'd you do? Hold the mic up.
Yeah, I've been sending those deal machine postcards, and yeah, they call me back, or the lady called me back.
Holy shit, that thing actually worked that I've been telling everybody to do? Wow, go figure. All right, keep going.
So yeah, she just called me back. I made an appointment. We talked on the phone for a while. Made an appointment and just listened to her. It was like Mr. Evan always advices, and just try to get as much information from her.
You didn't ask her like what she wanted the first like 3 seconds of the conversation? Okay, good. Good.
And yeah, just she liked me, I guess, and made a second appointment. Well, I ended up sending an offer by email because that's what she wanted, and I did. I gave her 3 options: a cash option, a payment. On payments with a small down payment, and then a third one with higher down payment, but also making payments to her. She took the cash offer, but I mean that's still really good.
Awesome. Where's it at?
Desert Hot Springs.
Desert Hot Springs. And what are you planning on doing with it? Flipping it or holding it or what?
This looks like it can work for a rental. So
or for rental.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So when do you close it?
The end of the month, hopefully.
End of the month? And how much money does it need?
Like repairs?
Yeah.
Estimating about 60 to 80.
Okay.
Probably more because I haven't seen the inside. I'm getting it with tenants.
Getting with tenants?
Yeah, and they're not paying. They haven't paid rent in over a year.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why I got a deep
So
discount.
it's Desert Hot Springs. How big is it?
4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, about 1,200, 1,250 square feet.
Awesome. You close at the end of the month?
Hopefully, yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. Good job. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. There you go. Deal machine, and keep talking to them. All right. Shirley and Tina, come on up.
I'll let Tina come up.
Come on up, both of you. Let's go. Let's give them a round of applause. I just heard this one today as I was totally not eavesdropping on there. They have 2. All right, come on. Stand on the black dots there. Come on over. All right, you can talk about one. So let's hear. Let's talk about, I don't know, pick one.
So we have 2 deals that came in this week. One is a land deal. We got it for $1,000 and sold it for $25.
Damn.
And that happened, gosh, within like 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, so that was a quick one. That was in Mountain Center.
How'd you find this deal?
Through our mailings.
Okay.
Shirley works acquisitions and I work dispositions. So she put the deal together and then I found the buyer.
Okay. And did you just do general postcards or?
Letters.
That was a deal machine?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So
And
you
then
tell me
our-
a question? No. Oh, sorry. All right.
And then our other deal, we just got an offer accepted on a mobile home in Carlsbad. We're picking it for $450 and the ARV is $650.
Awesome. Awesome. And how did you find that one?
Through a wholesaler that I know.
Yeah, we'll sell that to you. All right. All right. Well, sounds good, guys. Give them a round of applause. All right. Anybody else? I feel like some people are pointing fingers at people. Who are we pointing at?
Sal and I.
Sal and you. Come on up. Come up, Sal and you.
No, I got the signed letter back. What do you say? I don't know. I got the signed letter back right before we got. Oh, good. I'll let you talk. You can go here.
All right. Yeah, what happened was we got a.
There you go.
I'm not going to sing. I'm just going to talk. So what happened was we got a deal on a tax deed, a defaulted tax deed. So I went up. The guy lived, the customer, he lived in my neighborhood.
So you went really far to find
I
us.
went really far to find him, maybe about 2 miles. So I got my wife Debbie and I said, Deb, let's go up there and I'll show you the house and we'll talk to the guy. So we went up there and I said, okay, Deb, let's get out and we'll go knock on his door. And it's like, I'm not going up there, I'm not knocking on the door, I'm not doing anything. So I took her back home. I said, okay. So I went back up.
Putting on the spot.
No problem, Deb. So I went back up to his house, I knocked on his door. He was talking me through the door. He didn't want to come outside, so after a few minutes, I just said, hey, look, it's me, Sal. I live in your neighborhood. I just want to ask you a couple questions. So he finally opened the door. We came out. We talked for about 20 minutes. And in the meantime, I was asking him, I said, I hope you know you're defaulted on your taxes. And he goes, I am, like $58,000. He was defaulted on his taxes. And he said, but you know what, Sal? I've got 2 attorneys. I got a probate lawyer. I got this. I've got that. I don't need anything. I said, okay, that's fine. As long as you know, here's my card. I'll give you my card. If you have any questions, give me a call. So at 8 o'clock that night, he calls me up. He goes, Sal, can you come and talk to me because I'm kind of iffy on these people I've been talking to. So, well, with him, he has brain cancer and he's going through proton therapy. So I'll have to give him a little bit of slack for getting me at 8 o'clock at night. But I went back up and talked to him, and we were talking, and I told him, I said, I have a good team that can come out and help you with this. Evan, I called Evan the next day, and I was like sweating bullets. So I called Evan, I said, I got this tax deal, so can you come up? We'll talk to the guy, and Evan says, I can do that, no problem, but I want to go see the house, and I want to see what we can do. And from then on out, it was like, we're guns and blazes. Same thing.
When's the auction?
Oh, the auction is in April. It's next Tuesday, April 24th. So it's coming along, and we have our money. We're putting our money up to pay for his property taxes. And after that's done, he's going to stay in the house and sell his house. So he's not going to go anywhere. And after he sells his house, he's going to move to Arizona with his children. And so we had a solution. We had a solution.
So here's what we're doing. What we had to do is, and this is something to pay attention to your own estates, is that this gentleman's dad put everything in a trust, smart guy. Well, except they forgot to put the house in the trust. He actually had signed the grant deed, but never actually carried through. So he passed away shortly thereafter. And so now we have to file a Hextat petition, which is a court action, you need a probate attorney, a court action to basically say, hey, this was intended all along to go into the trust. So can we expedite this and get it done so that they can then deal with it? But this was a guy that still wasn't making a decision and yet he was a week away from losing his house. So we came up with a solution where we have several of us are going to go in, put out so much money, we're going to get very well paid back. And we hired the attorney, we've done everything, and situated the whole thing, and I just got the initial letter back, all signed, ready to go, and then we're finalizing everything Friday morning. But otherwise, we just did this because he decided to go search for something and found it in his own neighborhood. So you don't have to always drive 60 miles or 6,000 miles away.
Where's the property?
Okay? In the Inland Empire.
All right, let's give these guys a round of applause. Good job. Good job. So 2 things there, if you guys didn't notice. 1, take action. Okay? You gotta take action. These deals are, as much as you want them to, they're not gonna fall in your lap. Sometimes they do, but they're very rare. Action is very important. Okay? 2, if you don't know something or if you think you have something, call somebody. Okay? We're all here to help. Call me, call Evan, call anybody else that's up here on the stage, or call each other. Okay? Like I said, it doesn't say build your tribe for fun up there. It's build your tribe to do deals and get yourself financially independent. Okay? So let's give everybody a round of applause again. All right, Mr. Goodwin. Let's get you. Oh, sorry. Wait. I jumped the gun. Sit down. Okay. A couple quick announcements before we go to Goodwin. Come on. 1, who went on our cruise last year?
Right here.
All right. That's where we met Steve originally. I mean, he's been a member for a while, but got to meet him finally in person. Okay, we're doing that again in February. Ensenada and Catalina this time. Okay, that one's like $500 a person. I don't have a speaker lineup yet. We're working on it, but it's quite a ways off. The cool thing about these cruises, guys, is you can put your deposit in now and you can get a full refund. If you end up not being able to make it, something comes up, you can get a full refund. I'm pretty sure it's like up to 2 months before we sail. So like 2 months before we sail, you got to pay for the rest of it, or you say never mind and they give it to you all right back. Okay, so but it does reserve your cabin and gets you a better cabin too. If you wait too long, they'll put you at the back of the ship by the elevators, and you definitely want to be like in the balcony at the front. Okay. Also, we're going to Alaska in September of next year. Okay, these are both next year. So this one's a ways off, but you got plenty of time to save up, or you can make payments too. You don't got to pay it all at once. They'll set you up with a payment plan. Again, it comes. You can book it in advance and get a full refund to this stuff about 2 months before we sail. Okay. And I always forget to say who I am up here. So if you are brand new, welcome. My name's Rich Rice. I run this place. If you have any questions or you want to become a member, see the front desk or come to me. I'll be around. And with that, let's give Goodwin a round of applause.
Thanks, Rich. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm of that age in which it's kind of hard to hear things. So I know most of you have been fed, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows we're the ones who have the meatballs, not these other Wednesday sessions. Right? So how are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
Okay. Much better. So, show of hands, how many people have attended every single one of our creative finance sessions? Okay, the meatballs weren't enough, obviously. All right, we have to work on that. So, tonight we have a very special guest. We have someone who is the founder of Modern Asset Management. Okay, I got that part right. Steve actually wrote a nice bio for himself. I didn't write it, so I don't remember what's on it. But Steve has gone through a number of different things in his career. He had a accounts receivable company that ultimately was sold for various reasons. And anyone who has run a business knows how hard it is to run a business. I mean, it's not getting any easier. You have additional regulations, you have the economy, you have all kinds of different things that come up. So it's not easy to run any kind of business. But Steve also got into other things, and I don't want to go ahead and do Steve's presentation for him, so I won't cover a lot of that detail, but Steve has gone into real estate, and over lunch we talked a little bit about that, and I think Steve mentioned that he's been doing this for 5 years.
This particular flavor. Yeah.
This particular phase, 5 years. And if I remember correctly, you started off with like $370,000 to
Let's leave that out. We'll come to that.
leave that out? Okay.
We'll work on it.
All right.
Give away the punchline.
So let's just say that Steve in this particular phase has done very well for himself. Okay, and we'll let Steve's presentation speak for itself. So I also got to meet Steve on the cruise, and got to speak with him a little bit on that cruise too. I spent most of the time working myself. Steve is also a note guy, so I liked him right off. Okay. So without further ado, let me bring Steve up, and let's have a big round of applause for Steve.
Hi. Oh, no, don't put your hand in your pocket. What else did the coach teach me? When it's back to the time. Speak clearly, slow down, I was told. Originally from New York, and run pretty hot. So I've been around a bit. I bought my first commercial building in 1995. I at one point owned 3 office buildings where I was my best tenant. That worked. That's a really good idea. But of course I stopped doing that. About time for my pointer. Yeah, I'm a note guy. I have a portfolio of 1,000 payers. Right? That's pretty cool. All small dollar. Have you changed? Oh, my picture's not there. What'd you do? You cut my picture out. Oh, killing me already. So I'm going to talk about a couple of different things, and I'm going to tell you about halfway through. I'm going to want you to try to open up your minds a little bit and think about how we can help me and help each other. Right? I usually do presentations about how to not pay taxes, and I'm going to talk about maybe we make friends with these people, which is I thought was a good title. Change. Oh, which one? That one. The government offers us lots of incentives to be real estate people. It tells us, oh, this is cool. It tells us they want you to own real estate. They wrote all these rules to give you all kinds of advantages over other kinds of businesses. They give you depreciation. This is not quite as good as oil well stuff, which I've got a little bit of that my kids inherited. Oh my goodness. Did you know that if you take a barrel of oil out of the ground, you get to take a full tax credit of that because you can't replace it? Okay. It gives you all kinds of expense deductions, right? Lots of us are driving cars that we don't own, right? There's we all bought went out and bought 6,000-pound F-150s, right? When they were, right? Why did they do that? They didn't do that because they wanted you to have a truck. They wanted new steamrollers and Caterpillars and all this stuff to come out and make it work, and it sure did. They give us they. I'm one of those guys. They give us retirement savings tools because we know that Social Security isn't going to take care of us in our old age. They know that when they stopped plans like retirement plans from the police and whatever, that there wasn't going to be enough money for people, And if we were old and poor, we would vote them out of office. So they created things like IRAs, 401. Oh, you've got my old slide. Damn. All right, we're gonna have to play with some numbers later. I updated this just today. I looked at my partner's work and I said, oh, this is better than what I wrote. So let me back up a step. I am blessed to have a partner named Nick Curry. He's 36 years old. He's less than half my boss. I'm gonna be 68. And he's just a machine. He's a machine. Everything I start, he finishes. Anybody used or looked at EOS, Gino Wickman's and Entrepreneur Operating System? I got one hand way in the back. You're in the stacked chairs. It says that they use this word that there's visionaries and implementers. I'm supposedly the visionary. That just means I start shit and I don't finish it. Nick finishes everything. It's astonishing. I've known Nick since he was a junior in finance school. They give you small business deductions, expense reimbursement. I did not pay to come here today. I did not pay to stay at the Mission Inn last night, right? That's a nice spot. Nick paid. Nick paid. But really, the government let me take that off of our profit, right? They give us more defined benefit plans. That's what I was looking for. So there's a thing called a 401k, and we've heard about the thing called checkbook LLCs. Right? That familiar? Anybody been through any kind of courses like that? Should I back up a little bit? Okay, all right. We'll get to this, okay? And we got this special stuff going on in California, which is just what a zoo we have here, right? SB 1079, SB 9 and 10, and do what they want done is kind of my theme here. So, 67 years old, I really should be thinking about not working, right? So, maybe I should back up a second. I used to have a great big pile of cash, and I screwed up, right? I had to go back to work, right? I thought that I bought a property management business in Palm Springs in 2009. This is a special year. For 2 years, I tried to fix the Southern California real estate economy, right? $160,000 condo in Palm Springs, junky condo. I could have bought for 40. I had no idea what I was in. I was trying to save this business. I was trying to keep 8 people employed. I could never match the foreclosures and the evictions. I could never get them in the same unit. So I was losing it on both sides, right? It was, anyway, it was expensive. And when I started to rebuild my little financial world, what's the other thing I did? I sold my business in 2005. And one day I woke up and I had a lot of money in the bank. So having had this experience, having these office buildings where I was the primary tenant and had other tenants, I thought I knew the landlording business. So I sold one of those buildings and bought a 45,000 square foot mall in Denver, right? I bought a 10 cap, right? I mean, what could go wrong, right? That was 2005. I sold the business in 2005. The end of 2006, I bought the shopping center. I sold one building in Northern California. In March of 2008, 15 months later, that building was worth half what I paid for it. It went from $5.5 million to $2.5 million, right? What did I do? Everybody else was collapsing, bankrupting, walking away, all that. I had run a debt collection business for 20 years. I pay my bills. I paid my bills. For 8 years, I fed that thing $100,000 a year until I was almost out of money, and the path of progress finally got to me. That was supposed to happen right away. a grocery store opened up adjacent to me, and I was able to exit with $1 million cash. Okay? So it turned out to be okay. It really damaged me emotionally. It really did, right? So I decided I was going to play small ball, and I went out and bought a portfolio of mortgages. I then went and bought a payday loan store in Orange County, started a title loan business, and suddenly I've got every delinquent borrower in Laguna Hills, I'm banging on their door looking for money, right? I was happy. It was cool. It was all right. But again, it was very tiny, and it was just like safe. Because I've been a bill collector my whole life. So, back to this. So the point is, I got some scars, right? So I'm empathetic to people when they can't make a payment, and I try to help them. I built a pool of, I have 1,000 payers. That doesn't mean I have 1,000 accounts. I have 1,500 accounts, right? I have 1,000 payers. Pay me on average $200 a month, $2.25. So we gross $250 a month on that side of the business and net $50. So it's okay, right? I never touch it. I don't do a thing about it after I built it. It took me 3 years. Anyway, so Nick comes on board, and I start talking about how Steve's going to exit. And we started in this land trading business about 3 years ago. I have flipped 300 properties around the United States from as little as I heard the $1,000 sell for 25. I got a whole bunch of those making monthly payments, up to a couple $100,000. I have purposely tried to play beneath the real estate, the standard real estate market in whatever place I am. If I'm in Raleigh, in the Carolinas, I'm going to look at house prices at $300,000. So I'm looking for lots there for like $10,000. Right? If I'm doing it in California, the numbers get bigger. If I'm doing it in the desert, it's $1,000. I got 2 properties in 29 Palms, if anybody wants. I bought a couple of lots up in Paradise where the town that got wiped out in the fire, just to do my part, and I sold them both on terms, cheap, to let somebody pick up and start it. That place was scary. Anyway, so Modern Asset Management created a qualified retirement plan, which is our own little pension plan. It has 2 members, me and Nick. And there's this phrase you hear, okay, how much can you make in an IRA contribution a year?
22,500.
Right, but if you're just an individual, it's $7 grand, right? So it might be worth forming a business so you can donate more, right? So you can contribute more. 22.5, and the employer can match, right? And you can jack it all the way up to about $65,000, $69,000, something like that, if you press all the buttons. We have been depositing about $45,000. We just did our 3rd year. This is February. We made the contribution for the year then, so that money hasn't been put to work yet. But we have, in 2 years, $190,000 invested. My 45 and his 45 times 4, right? It's not a value of $500,000 right now, because I pulled that out of the air. It's actually $711,000. I forgot the $200,000 in cash that I'm sitting on, that we haven't put to work. Right? So we took $190,000, and I've turned it over 4 times. Yeah, 4 times. In that time. So we buy something, we sell it in 3 or 4 months, turn it over. I chose land because I don't have to deal with chasing contractors. A lot of stuff can go wrong with dirt, but not the kind of stuff that goes wrong, right? We don't have contractors falling through roofs and suing. Anybody had that? No? Oh, okay. He's in the attic and he misses the stud, and his foot goes through, and what lands right on the wood, right? Yeah, right. He was unlicensed. The contractor who had hired him didn't have him officially on payroll, blah, 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 right? Oh, yeah, write a check. Write a check. But anyway, it's not 15 sales, it's 20 some. It's not 5 on market right now, it's 15 on market that I have paid $330,000 for, right? So this is pretty cheap stuff, right? But that 330 has a market value north of 700. Right? So I'm not just sitting, we have turned over the 190,000, which plus this year, well, the 190,000 has been turned over that our spend is $1.1 million. So we have recycled that money again and again. Right? So that's allowed me to build this, maybe I have to change the slide now. Whoops. That's allowed me to build 190 plus another 90, so 280 into 711,000. That's on the balance sheet, plus another $300,000 or $400,000 in income that'll come in this year. In my part-time retirement account, right? Taxes on the part-time on the Roth taxes.
0.
None, right? None.
Roth, yeah.
Right, none. I paid the taxes on the way in, right? So I'm 67, I can take it now, but this is too much fun, right? I want to turn it over a couple more times, and I think end of year it'll be $1 million. And you know, then we're going to get to the end of the year, I'm going to come back next April, and you're going to say, what'd you do? And I say, well, I turned it over again, because we're going to go for $2 million. And that's really my deal, is I want to put $2 million in this retirement account because I used to have $2 million set aside for retirement, and I left it in Palm Springs, right? So, you can too. You can too. It's not hard. You can tell I'm not exactly a financial whiz, right? Oh, I do want to acknowledge some folks in the room. Hey, Jay. Up until a week ago, I thought Jay lived in South Carolina. Jay and I are in a deal. That deal's got problems. It's got hair on it. It's going to take some work. What's the spread on that going to be? A whole lot. You know, 50, right? Okay. You know, that's okay. I've never seen it. I've never talked to anybody about it. All I did was wire some money, and now I'm dancing with some title issues because I'm old and I've been around and I've learned some stuff, right? I'm practicing law without a license in South Carolina. No, Steve wouldn't do that, right? People will tell you not to have a C Corp, right? Because of double taxation. What creates the double taxation? Taking the money out. Right? If I take the money out, well, then I have to pay tax on it. We were granted by the prior president a tax reduction that C Corps pay 21% versus the base rate of 28%. Another side. I have all these sidebars with myself. Really should rehearse, you know? Really should rehearse. But it's too much fun. Getting people to. I love a mic. If you can't tell, I love a microphone. I really do. I am such a ham. So I'm trying to keep it cool. I'm not going to sing. Does anybody know what their net effective tax rate is this year? You do? Will you say it out loud? I'll say mine if you say yours. Huh? 24%. Okay, I mean, you can live with 24% as a tax rate, you know, that's okay, right? Anybody else know? Mine's 18. Right? Mine's 18. My C Corp pays me the minimum amount of money that you would pay a credit supervisor. I get $2,000 a month from the company, right? That's the only thing that gets regular W-2. Except for my once a year $50,000, $40,000 deduction. Everything else I do is a business expense, right? Everything else. Somehow even the money I give to my kid is a business expense because he works for me, right? And I gotta, this is up being recorded, and I have to say how grateful I am that Greg Hodgdon is working for me. And if you ever want to do business with me, you'll get to meet Greg Hodgdon. Because this is, all I do is start stuff, right? He's the acquisition guy. He has his own little tribe of people. He uses the word tribe. And his job right now is building a network of wholesalers nationwide. Right? Cool, right? Go for it. Again, lots of expense reimbursements, take just enough payroll, and we have an exit plan that my partner, there's a what happens if Steve dies note that says, I get it, Steve wants to retire, we have this formula that calculates the value of the business that day, and then he has 10 years to pay it out. At whatever the prevailing, what does AFR stand for? It's the IRS rule of how much interest you have to charge on things. Right? So he'll get a 10-year note. Today it would probably be at 8%, 9%. When we put this deal together, I think it was 2%. So the business started with me taking $1 million and buying 36 mortgage notes, and then funding this unsecured lending business. Nick comes along, and the assets on the business, non-cash assets in the business, are $5.5 million. So I keep coming back to my $5.5 million number. Apparently that's I stopped there. I was talking to you about how do I get past this wall I built for myself? So here's what I came to talk to you about. I got this idea, and I've got some of the bugs, some of the path worked out, but I think there's a lot more that can be done. I know there is, there has to be, because nothing's been done. The government, the tax man, who I want us to be my friend now, has a series of things that they put in place, they've thrown money at and given fancy names to. There's a thing called the Community Reinvestment Act. There's things called CDFIs. And these are kind of banks, kind of charities that are given money by the government, and their job is to deploy it to people in need to balance out our inequalities that we have built over years of the haves and the have-nots. This money can be deployed in any number of ways. Because of my prior experiences and now having plenty of gray hair, I present well to bankers. Right? I can put a tie on and I look trustworthy, and well, I am trustworthy with them. I'm too stupid to lie. I have a soft standing order for 200 mortgages to people in majority, minority congressional districts, of which we are in one. So a population that is 51% non-white, and they will grant loans to people that make median income or below in that community. So middle income borrowers, middle income renters that would like to become homeowners in Riverside County that make around 100 and change a year. Right? Somebody that can handle a mortgage of $3,000, $3,500, something like that. And a standing order from a group in Los Angeles for 200 properties. Get busy, right? You have an exit that gives you a win on your, we're doing this work now. We're doing this work now, and we're vilified for it, right? We're, you landlords, right? You landlords, we brag about buy for 1, sell for 25. I'd like to brag that I bought for 300, I sold for 375, and I put a nurse in a house for the first time, right? I'd like to tell that story, right? And if we did a little bit of that, well, that creates a different perspective in the community. Oh yeah, I'm still the greedy landlord, but our group has got 30 people that we put into homes this year, right? We didn't do it for free, we got paid. We got paid the same, or if you were a passive investor in a 401k plan, and you could, in a Roth 401k, you wouldn't have to give any more money to Washington. So I'm on this mission to bring money from Washington here, right? To wherever here is. Right? I have 3 banks that are saying, when are you going to get going? Right? They have some rules that, so, anybody know where Marin County is? Yeah. Right, north of San Francisco, right? Nice place. Yeah, right, he didn't make the money sign, right? Yeah, nice place. I raised my kids there. They're really spoiled. First Federal Bank in San Rafael opens a branch in Alameda County, and now suddenly they have to comply with this rule. They know nothing about blue-collar loans. They know nothing about it, right? Steve does. That's all Steve does is blue-collar loans. All Steve's charity can do blue-collar loans too. Tee them up, get them nicely packaged, just like you do any other mortgage origination, and instead of selling them to a bank, we're going to sell them through a CDFI, which gets this government-backed funding, which allows them to give a lower interest rate to the borrower, therefore making it more affordable, therefore making this virtuous circle. Right? I think it's a great idea. So, I've started a thing called Beneficial Community Development Corporation. Pretty fancy, huh? Neat. I just filed a $0 tax return. Because I didn't get around to it. I got sick last year. I got pneumonia. I just couldn't get things going. Focuses affordable housing. Doing what I do now. They gave us Senate Bill 1099, which allows you to buy a foreclosure back from the bank after they take it back. Right? Yeah. Okay. So.
Was that 1099 or 1079?
1079.
Okay.
Did I say 1099?
You were thinking taxes.
No, not me. I had to chase down a 1099-R for my 401k contribution with the most expensive, incompetent CPA I've ever worked with. And again, I'm not the guy I should not be teaching tax law. No. So, 1079 says, I'm going to foreclose on your house. And, okay, his house. Okay, you'll be the buyer. I'm going to foreclose on your house. And you walk away, and I foreclose either from first, second, 10th position, doesn't matter. A charity or this kind of end buyer that I'm looking for, an owner-occupant, can buy that mortgage, can buy that property from the bank and redeem the amount of money. So there's a $600,000 mortgage on an $800,000 house. Borrower walks away because he's got a second that puts him upside down. First forecloses, second's wiped out. Right? I was around for that in 2008 and 9. I bought a lot of debt over decades. I was buying defaulted naked seconds. We know what that means? No. Okay, a default, yep. Second mortgage, yeah. Out of the money means that there was no equity in the property. I was buying them and treating them like they were any other unsecured debt, not understanding what I had. If I had just sat on them, oh my goodness, right? So, but what do I know? Very little. So, B of A takes the house back for $600,000. You can go to B of A and say, I'm a charity, I'm beneficial CDC, gimme, right? And they give it as long as I promise I am going to put it into service to help somebody who is below median income. Doesn't mean poor, it means middle class. the people that get squeezed every day, right? Even better if they're, they fit the minority category, any minority category, any impacted individual, right? So, I get SB 9 and 10 confused. SB 9 is you can make anything an ADU, right? SB 10 says you can do, I think if I have this right, anybody in the ADU business, please tell me what it really means. SB 10 says that I can lot split anything. I can build on anything as long as I meet the setbacks, right? So I want corner lots in Riverside where I can put a driveway on the side and put a mobile, split the lot, buy the third, and sell it as like a condo. Or I can take that homeowner who is impacted and I can help him become a landlord, right? Wouldn't it be nice if we started having, and so now I've got somebody, he's renting, it's like he's renting a room, right? You can basically turn anything into a fourplex now, right? You can do a garage conversion. My house that I live in, I would take my office and put a bathroom in it and all that one. I would do garage conversion. That would be my junior ADU, and then I would drop a mobile home on the side of the house or a tiny home on the side of the house and call that fourth. So now I've taken my house and I've turned it into a fourplex. Mrs. Hodgdon will not let me do that. She wants me to give her a new kitchen. And I said, how about a new house? And make this a fourplex. So we'll go back to what am I trying to do? I formed a charity. I want us to put on our do-gooder hats for a minute, but still keep our black IREC shirt on underneath that says greedy capitalist, right? And how do I do what I do in this veneer? Oh, good, we're gonna get to my lending circle idea. I want to improve, and this is a straight grab from a big CDFI, improve housing access in Riverside and San Bernardino counties. You can generate tax deductions for investors by having them make donations. Right? So if you're banging and you're making over $250,000 a year, and you're a trade or you're reselling, you're paying a lot of taxes, right? There's some amount in that your CPA can tell you that if you made a donation to a charity, it just comes. Either you're going to give the IRS 100, or you're going to give Steve 50 and the IRS 50. Right? Still the same 100. You're still going to lose the money, but I get to keep it here. It doesn't go to Washington and become whatever happens to it there. I get to keep it here. I get to take your deduction. I take your money. I lend it on your house. That person, your seller, your buyer, is now making monthly payments on a down payment assistance loan, right? Now making down payments on a down payment assistance loan that I can turn around and then re-lend over here, and you make payments, and then next year you make another donation, and pretty soon we're running a community bank. We're running a lending circle. This is the way it used to be done. This is before we had banks. 12 farmers would get together and everybody would chip in money, and you get a new barn this year, and you get a new horse stall next year, and then you get some cows, and the money would just circulate around and around. That's how the world worked. Mission Asset Fund in San Francisco does this in the city, in the mission, and they help people buy houses. In San Francisco. Yikes, that's expensive, right? But the median income there, last I checked, was like 170. So you make 150, you're going to qualify for a bank takeout, and we've got the banks. Remember, we have the banks. The banks are saying, "Bring me that guy. We'll lower our credit standards to get this deal done." Because if they don't, then the bank's going to get threatened with losing their charter, right? I think I make a deal board of this. and I just have deals to shop and banks come and pick them up, right? Lack of financial education makes me mad. I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. And I was running a collection agency that collected $30 million a year. Okay? Me. Right? I had 50, 60, 70 employees sometimes. Right? I was the largest collection agency in Northern California. I was a beast 25 years ago. I knew nothing. I took a full W-2 paycheck every year on the income spinning off of that. I want to get some of that back. I have sent enough money to the IRS in that 20-year period for all of us. We don't need to send them any more. Right? Okay. It's better in your hands, right? Right? You'll put it to better use than having it just evaporate and, right? And they got so much they won't even notice. The fund I like out of that does this, one of my models I've been hoping to emulate on a smaller scale is Raza Financial in Phoenix, and they've put almost $2 billion out for people to buy homes. Right? Holy smokes! Right? It doesn't even show up on the radar of anybody at Fannie or Freddie or anything like that. But if we used $100 million, that would make a difference. It would also increase the value of your neighborhood, right? Theoretically, people that own take care of their houses better than people that rent, right? And that's true. Yeah, I'll go with that. So we're improving our comps as we're going along and doing this.
Can I ask a question, Steve?
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Create a lending circle. Is this for the people who are the renters and the owners? It's their own money that they're lending them?
So, the best place for me to get donations is here, or family offices, big deep money pockets, people, folks. But if we pooled, there's 40 people here. If I got $1,000 ahead, I have $40,000. Does anybody know a deal we're trying to do that the borrower, if they only had $40,000, they'd be able to qualify, right? Right? So, hi Jim. Not Jim? Oh, you look just like Jim. I swear he looks just like Jim Myers. Or maybe he looked like Jim Myers 20 years ago. That's probably what it is. So, if we had $40,000, if we had $40,000, I'll put up 20, you guys put up 20, right? And we put that in $10,000 increments to help people qualify for FHA loans in a full price deal, or shave a couple percentage off to be righteous. And that got houses moving. And again, I know how to collect payments. It's what I do. And we give them a 3% loan for 7 years, right? They make those payments, balances go down, money goes back up, and just keep circulating the money again, right? And you could call it the IREC, beneficial blah, blah, blah,
So it's charitable at that point?
It's charitable.
Not lending a circle.
The
It's not
lending
deductible, or it's not deductible the contribution.
It's a deductible contribution.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah, it's a
It's going
deductible.
into the 501c3?
Yeah, because it goes to 501c3. And it can be in little dollar amounts. I had to register it as a public charity.
Okay.
Right? I could do the Bill and Melinda Gates private charity thing, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a reason these people do this, by the way. There's a reason. My daughter said years and years ago, Dad, you're really not all that altruistic. Yeah. No, I'm going to butter your bread, but I'm also going to butter mine. And so, but the lack of financial education. I'm running a pretty big business. I've got a couple of $1 million in real estate that I own cash. I've got all this stuff going on. I'm helping courts and hospitals and doing all this stuff I do, and I don't know how to use a financial calculator. Right? I had no idea. I didn't know how to calculate compound interest. Right? So I was working really hard, you know, and then I go meet guys like you and Gary Johnston, and anybody know Pete Fortunato? Okay. I can tell my Pete Fortunato story, maybe. That was it. Anyway. But that's the idea. I've got this platform. I need to figure out what are the best ways to do it. I need to probably get a couple of people on the board, right? And figure out, okay, how do we do this to improve things here in this group? And then my job is to go to the next RIA meeting, like in Arizona, and do the same thing and start it there. With Beneficial Community Development Corporation is a nationwide charity. That was the box I checked, right? With zero tax return. Sounds good. And it's time for me to do something about it because 67, going to be 68. I've had some health scares. I've had some solid, good health scares. I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. I've had 3 mini strokes. I just went through a year of pneumonia, a year, right? Skinnier than I was a year ago. But I still went on the cruise. Gotta go on the cruise. And I get a chance to leave a little bit of a mark, you know, atone from some of my sins as a bill collector. Everything you heard is true. There's a reason there's laws against people like me. Yeah. So.
You said you're from New York, so.
I'm a New York, New Jersey, yeah. I made all of my money when I changed from taking money from people to saying please and thank you and what can you do. I incentivized my collectors that they got paid when they got a thank you letter. Who sends a thank you letter to a bill collector? I took those letters to my clients when I delivered checks. They never left me. California Service Bureau became Collection Company of America after I sold it. Right? So the last I knew, they were still doing it the way I did it. No yelling, no carrying on, no fighting. Just, hey, just do your best. Right? So, down payment assistance, I talk about that. I can set up the machine to find you the right lender. Right? Again, I got people waiting. You know, just give me something in Alameda. Give me something at the LA banks that are happy to come out here to Riverside. Right? They have the game on how they get this credit is they're buying things out of area. I've done 12 flips in Pensacola. I've done 6 in central Louisiana. So I'm doing this with $50,000 for the whole house, right? The whole house, 50 grand. And putting them out on seller finance terms. Add a 0, here I am. I'm already doing this. I know how to underwrite somebody with a 500 FICO. I know how to find the jewels in that. Just because they didn't pay their bills don't mean they won't pay their bills. Right? It's that nobody will lend them money now because they didn't pay their bills. So your FICO never improves. Right? Yeah. So how do you do it? If you didn't pay your Visa card, that's way different than I didn't pay my mortgage. Right? If you're living in it, you may be late, but 99% of the time, you're not going to walk away. But if you do, then we just do it again. Yeah.
So what are you looking for when you're trying to find the jewels?
What am I finding? What?
What are you looking for when you have someone with a 500 FICO score and trying to decide are they somebody you're actually willing to?
Do they have an Amazon-proof job? Is their bank account in order? Have they had a consistent residence? They're not bouncing around 6 months here, a year there, that kind of thing. Do they have ties? Mom lives down the street. I'm moving back home. Right? That kind of stuff. I'm never giving up this union electrician job. Right? I have never had an undocumented tradesman loan go bad. Right?
But they have
have to make $100,000 a year?
No. That's the cutoff. They make 101, they don't qualify. Right? At 101, the government doesn't want to help you because you're not impacted. Right? And it's different everywhere. Louisiana is probably $40,000. Right? And $40,000 earner can afford a $70,000 house. Right? If I bought the house for 50 and I sell it for 70, that's okay. Right? That'll work. No. It's the same math. And again, we know how to do borrower education. When my first wife was still alive, we went to Terralanda High School, and the school gave me 1 period a year to talk to kids about money. Right? 1 period, and we would go to and it was only the econ kids, right? 1 period a year. And one time, we ran the roster through my computer to see how many of their parents were in my collection agency. Yeah. Now, I coached t-ball with people who owed me money. I coached basketball with somebody. No, the kid was on my team, and I had a judgment against the parents. Okay, and we were okay. And we were all right because I was treating people the way, like you're supposed to. Right? This is the thing we're screaming all the time. Oh, we need more housing. We need more housing. Well, let's go do the ADU game. Let's go do some deep rehabs. Let's go, whatever you guys want to do that doesn't involve me buying another white F-150. I will never own a truck again. I gave away all my tools. Collaboration is the key to a successful creation of housing programs. You know what will work in your area. I don't, right? My Ladesha in Louisiana, we're buying a house. Ironically, it's on Chicago Loop, and we're on Chicago. 25 grand. 25 grand. It's going to cost 30 to clean it up. So all in, call it 60. All in for 60, and it'll rent for $850 a month. Right? Rent it for a year, sell it to those people on terms for $75,000. We now have somebody who's going to build some equity and have something, and to retire with nothing or a paid-for house. Jose Pineda in Pensacola paid off his 15-year note. My wife hasn't paid off her mortgage, right? Who's smarter? Right? Yeah, and he does not have a green card. He has an ITIN. He has a tax ID number for whatever his little electric business is, and that allowed me to lend him money. Right? Who suggested that he go get an ITIN? Right? Yeah. Right. It's the same money. You're going to give it to the IRS, or you're going to give it to your community. And it's the you are helping, because all the government programs that come out and say, we've made these rules and we've made these plans and we're here to help, they don't happen. They just don't happen. I'm old, so I just don't want it to go to Sacramento. I don't want money to go to Washington anymore. I want it to come the other way. Right? So. Now here's the, you can make neighborhoods better. Right? We have to, and we can. We do, now. Right? There are 1,900 of these bank-like kind of things in the United States. All the money is in 40 of them. Wow. So, 1,901 and a couple of $1 million over time, they will never even know we're here. But it gives you, in this time of high interest rates, it gives you an advantage of being able to steer consumers to a lower interest rate product with easier terms. You can get a 640 FICO guy through the needle with a 4% down, and off they go, right? think. I haven't done one yet. I'm going to suggest that you don't call me or send me emails because I'd like you to start communication through the Inland Empire Facebook group or something like that, because there's other people that need to know, right? So some general questions, that kind of stuff there to keep nudging it, because I'm leaving, right? I'm leaving. I'm going to a care home I own in Orange County after this, and you're not going to see me again for 6 months. So you're going to forget when the next person comes up next month or next week. Who can you introduce? Am I off base? If this is just lame and you've seen it fail, tell me now before I go spend the next 2 years trying to do this. And who do you know that can help? You have a banker, a mortgage broker, somebody who does this, who knows this. If I can shortcut a lot of this stuff, it's what I'd like to do. I don't want to. This wheel has already been created. I don't want to go make a new one. And then we can listen to John Shaw. I wish I was smart enough to listen to this guy. I am not. The idea of owning 30 paid in full houses doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't know why. But anyway, I got some business cards up here if anybody wants them, because that's what old people do. Right? But no, send me emails, whatever. But I'd like to thank the Inland Empire Group by having you communicate through their channel, and because if anything comes out of this, it comes out because you're all here, right? And but anyway, that's it. Questions? Yeah.
We have some questions for Steve?
Can you talk a little?
Yeah. Hit him on the way back. No? Oh well.
There's other mics in the room. Pick them up. We're good.
Yeah, I'm loud enough. Just curious, what's the difference between this type of loan and something that they would get either an FHA loan potentially, or the new, I don't remember what it's called, but the loan that allows them to put 5% down and pick up like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. That loan.
Wonderful units, right?
Yeah. So what is the difference between this loan and those loans that are already set up for to help people get?
A lot of it's the same, but generally they don't qualify. They're either short on income, they're short on credit score, and they don't make the cut for the prime paper that Fannie and Freddie buy, and then sell to Wall Street. Right? So they don't fit in that box. They're scratching that loans is a phrase for them. It's kind of like we're in the used car market, not the new car market. Right?
So you're just to follow that up, then the people that you would go after are the people who aren't like destitute or have like major problems, but more problems than they would otherwise qualify for the.
Yeah. So BC credit or CD credit maybe, if you had an A through F scale, something like that, and. Despite my experience at the high school, I've been doing credit counseling for people for 30 plus years, and I know the right programs to plug people in for them to clean up their credit. Lo and behold, they're written by the federal government, and they're available to anybody. But sometimes you have to have a proctor in the classroom saying, "Okay, we're going to watch the video now," right? In the back?
So these type of loans remind me of the loan that I got through Cal HFA.
Yeah.
So they gave me money because I'm a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to take like an online course.
Mhm.
and I had to go to a certain specific mortgage lender who understood the paperwork behind it. But I had to do that, like I had to research all of that.
Mhm.
So my question to you is, how do you make it more accessible to those people who are just not,
Here we
know
are.
about it, don't know where to start looking?
Here we are. We build a machine. If there's anything I like to do is go out and talk to people. We put together the right websites and we drive people through this process. There's somebody, probably more than one somebody, at the Riverside County office who has given this as his or her job. This is what they're supposed to do, and they don't know how to find people to do it to. Right? So there's the loop, like you said, you're exactly who needs help. Right? Where do I start? What do I do? Right? You know, all that stuff. Right? And it's easy to invest one time to build process to do that and then drive people through.
So are you looking at us as bringing you the people that will want this loan, or are we loaning the money so that this happens?
Yes.
What are you looking for?
I'm making it up as I go. If you're interested, will travel down this path some together. I know who the banks are. Like I said, I've got 3 in my hand right now. I know who the banks are. I have access to as many more as I want. More than I have flow. I think we build a like a deal board kind of thing where you can like, oh, I'm looking for somebody. I've got a teacher and they need to, how do I get started? Well, you go here and you get started, and there it says, if you want help and you want to use beneficial CDC, we'll help direct you to the right person. And there's some teachers credit union that needs CRA credits, and they're happy to snatch you up.
For the end user, is there like a certain criteria that has to be satisfied? Like they have to be in the house for like 5 years or something like that, or what are the stipulations on that?
It will vary bank by bank because they'll have their standard criteria, and then their loan committee will have said, okay, we'll go from here to here, but not here. So the bank says we will do 640 FICO, minimum $100,000 a year. Okay, so I put that in the computer. The applicant comes in, and then we say, okay, well they don't meet that box, but the next bank will take $90,000 a year. Okay, so we ship the loan there.
Oh, okay. And are there loan to value restrictions as well?
All the same rules apply. They're allowed to fudge some.
Oh.
Right? They're allowed to fudge some. I don't know if I can go all the way to the 3.5% FHA stuff. I don't know if I can. I'm not even sure that's really a good idea for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the reason you started this 501c3? Your motivation for doing it?
Because I've got almost, yeah, and you know Jeremy Gang?
I know,
Okay.
I know, yeah.
Having dinner with Jeremy last night, and Jeremy in a much different tone said, why are you doing this? Right? Because it's me, I can't sit still, I'm doing a lot of this already, and let's peel some off and put it over here in a nice bucket, right? You know, let's feel good about doing the job we're doing. And, you know, yep.
I mean, in theory, I really like the idea, and I'd like to get involved, but I'm unclear on exactly how to do that, I think, still.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Well, I mean, 'cause you're saying, like, you know, please don't, you know, you give us your information, and that's just great, I appreciate that. You said, please don't really give me a call, we're gonna try and figure it out in the...
Yeah, so
okay.
maybe I need to set up a Zoom,
Okay.
and, you know, I get, you know, go out and, you know, is there any interest in this at all from some people? Okay, that's enough hands, right? That's enough hands. You know, I can take somebody from the team and set them to work doing the detail stuff. And I said I am a very good friend of mine is my creditor rights attorney. He represents everybody against the state of California. And when I brought him this idea, he said, hold on, and we called somebody in Washington who's a lobbyist to Congress for the banking, for the American Bankers Association, and he said, when can you start? Right? So there is this for nothing other than to give some people some cover that they're trying to do this. It's worth doing because somebody's going to get a house so they can afford it, right? Somebody is maybe, I saw like 15 hands, so maybe 15 houses get sold to people that wouldn't have ordinarily been able to get out. Then we'll find 15 teachers, right? That wouldn't be hard. And again, we're doing it anyway. Yep.
Sorry, is this only going to be for first-time home buyers?
That's a whole other program, and there's special help for them. But if they fall out, if they miss the mark, if they don't check all the boxes for that, well, then, then maybe the banks need to do these, and they need somebody to make them look just right, and that's what I think we can do. We can make them look just right. Whether they're first-time home buyers, whether they're, it's for people that are just at the margin. That are just at the margin.
So you're basically looking for two things. One side is one bucket of things that you're asking for is charitable donations from all of us to help us with our tax write-off. And then the second bucket that you're asking for is if we find any potential borrowers that fit this criteria to post something on the IDR.
Well, we will. Gosh, that I came to this meeting. I did not come to this meeting expecting a close, right? Saying I'm ready to buy. I wasn't expecting that at all. But there's pieces to put in to make this happen. My little team of 5 people is, Steve, get back to work. We got stuff to do. And I'm like, well, if there's people that want this feels right, right? And I'm all about what feels right. So this feels right. And so there's some stuff that has to get done. I can introduce you to Camino Financial, and they're in LA, and they want to work out here because they need to do this. And they're a CDFI. They're a big CDFI, and their focus is they lend money to Latinos. Period. That's what they do. Business loans, car loans, whatever, and they need to take some of it and put it over in mortgages, affordable mortgages. So, and they don't want to they don't know how to do the work. So we do.
So if we find somebody that fits this criteria, we post something on the.
Well, by then we'll be talking. By then there'll be a Discord chat, or there'll be somebody to email them into. I think about who on the team I'd send them to now. I have probably Joaquin, but he's kind of busy. He just got 38 properties to list. Back to the $1,000 Desert Squares. 38 one day, right? That's a good day, right? Yeah, that was yesterday morning.
Not a legal expert, not a lawyer.
Me neither.
Okay.
Oh, I should have done a disclosure. It's disclaimer.
To Latinos, I would be definitely afraid of lawsuits because that's an issue. Second thing is I'd be very careful about disparate impact, which can basically, let's say you have an ethnic group and you reject 80% of them for whatever reason, and they're a percentage of the thing, you're guilty of racism because of court cases.
So,
it's a nasty area.
I started in 1980 working for a department store credit department that was under a federal cease and desist order for redlining. That was where I started in credit. I have spent my whole life being completely blind to whoever the other person is. And now I have to turn on the switch, and it doesn't have to be a specific minority. It has to be an impacted individual, and there's a broad range of things that make impact individual. But what it has to be is in a majority minority, so majority of the people are not non-white, congressional district, which is kind of like a zip code table, but it has to be in a congressional district that has that gets a certain amount of money allocated from the CRA to come over, and the CDFI to come over here to be lent.
No, I understand that. I'm just just an area to look into.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So if I am doing maybe a pre-screen, if maybe I'm just doing underwriting, maybe I'm asking some blind questions and sending them immediately to the entity and let them do their own underwriting, that's a good point right there. I can say, I don't know who you are, I just know where you want to, I know your zip code is okay, that means you go to this bank. That may be, I think you just simplified my work. I don't need to train underwriters. Oh, yeah.
Question, so let's say you have a homeowner and they want to add an ADU.
Uh-huh.
Would these, not excluding their already existing mortgage, could these loans be used to add those ADUs
You
if they're
bet.
providing affordable housing?
You bet. You bet, right? Right? Are they in a majority minority area, right? So, right? And so then let's figure out how to put that is much easier for a bank to swallow because it's a $100,000 transaction, not a $600,000 transaction. They need to have a certain quantity of these So 5 ADUs versus one house, the bank will say, give me the ADUs, right? Yeah, right? Yeah, I said there's a smile, like, yeah. And this fits, right? This fits. This is that individual, right? You know, they're getting by. If they got a 2-bedroom apartment attached to their house and they were making $3,000 a month off it or $2,000 a month off of that, hey, they're living large. Things are happening. I'll write a 10-year note on that. Skip all of this. I'll write that 10-year note today. And again, in the 11th year, they own it while we're still making our mortgage payments. Right? Who's smarter?
This is fascinating. Anyway, do the banks have geographical restrictions?
The banks have no, but they have to show that they're trying to lend money in their neighborhood. So El Dorado Bank, which is one of the people on my list, they're from Placerville, they decided to open a branch downtown Sacramento. Well, now they have to serve the population of greater Sacramento. They only know how to lend money to farmers, right? They don't know anything about doing single-family houses in bad neighborhoods, right? So they're like, let's get going. It's like my Marin Bank. They opened a branch in Oakland. You know, like, oh, crumb. Now what do we do, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not completely clear on a couple of things. You had said at one part.
Well, I'm looking for this kind of like feedback. Yeah. Okay. If anybody doesn't know that, hasn't figured out that I don't know what I'm doing, you know, I got an idea.
Okay. So when you're saying that you're looking for, on one end, people that want to, I guess, donate money or for like a tax write-off to help basically loan money to people who need to qualify, right?
Mhm.
So, and I get that you would get a tax write-off of that I'm not exactly clear, but I guess you could get some. How do you recoup the money? Is it like a loan? Is it a loan where you're loaning and then they're paying you back plus a small amount of interest?
Yes. Okay. It could have been like his own set of slides. I'm looking to build an evergreen loan fund to do down payment assistance or, who knows what happens to it.
Okay, so in that case, so let's say I give you X amount of dollars. Does that work like, is that a note? Or is it put into a fund and then you get and everybody else
You
gets
don't
money,
get
gets a dividend from
you don't get any money back.
So it's gone.
It's gone. It's a charitable donation, right? The money comes back into the charity and then is redeployed out in another loan. Right? So it just pays for itself as it goes. It's a start.
Okay.
Right?
We'll take a couple more questions, and then that'll be end of tonight's session.
Yeah.
So what specifically is this program titled? The seed?
I named the charity Beneficial CDC for Community Development Corporation.
No, for the government providing
Oh,
these loans.
it is falls under the CDFI.
Okay.
and the Community Reinvestment Act, the CRA.
Okay. Thanks.
And there's a lot of stuff to read on it, but it's, again, they're trying to give this money away. Yeah. Yeah?
She had a question.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Okay, so do you have a system that's gonna be tracking all of this information, and, or you don't have nothing right now?
I'm thinking I take my Airtable-based system now that I use for my 300 land deals and just copy it over and start another table. Yeah, I've got that. I've got a.
Questions, it has all
Yeah,
that.
and we have to go build. We have to go build some stuff. Your point about your point about how many questions I can ask before I start treading on to approval decline. That's a really good point. You know, I think I should have maybe some questions about do I think does my income fall within this range? Do I what's the zip code do I live in? Yes, you qualify. Yes, you answer those questions correct. Now I send you to Bank of Riverside.
Okay, and one more. I know we talked about the contribution. So I give you $1.
Mm-hmm.
I get to write it off on my taxes as a contribution. How do I make money out of my $1 that I gave you?
You don't?
That's my.
It's a donation.
You don't?
Oh, it's a donation.
I only want $1. I only want $1. I only want the $1. I don't want all of the income you made last year.
Still make some money.
Oh, you go keep doing everything you're doing, and maybe I give a lot of money. I wear this Rotary pen. I give a lot of money to Rotary. Maybe Rotary doesn't get the full donation this year. Maybe it goes in. It's going to go into the charity, right? But you have to talk to your accountant to figure out what's the delta on how much money I make. What does it save me on taxes? If I'm in the 18% tax bracket, that's where I started, I only save 18 cents out of that $1, right? So I have worked at perfecting my tax return, right? But my business at 21% is a better place for me to take it than my 18, right? If you're in the highest tax bracket, well, maybe it's easier for you at 47% to go spend some money. Yeah, Marty.
So I think the question is, how do we make money on this, right?
You don't.
Well,
No, you do. I'm sorry. Yes, you do. But keep going.
So that's my question is, okay, we understand that the tax deduction, assuming you're itemizing, right? You don't get a tax deduction unless you're itemizing.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of us here may not be itemizing just because of the new rules. Besides that, we're thinking this is a business. The charity is the business, right? The charity. How does the charity make money? Do the banks pay the charity to?
You can sell a note. You can sell a note with more than par. I could do that. I could go through the whole underwriting.
So the charity will underwrite, right?
It could.
And then sell. Okay.
Yeah. The guys with the white F-150s, you're still doing what you're doing. You're just directing 1 out of 20 buyers over to this, right? So you're still, and maybe the house is $500,000 and you drop it to $490. You do your good deed for the day. And the revolving money fund helps with the down payment. So we get a little bit on this side, we get a little bit on this side. You chipped in a little bit on the price, and we solve what we're trying to do, which is get somebody in a house that was going to miss out.
That makes more sense. So we're supporting this also by, hey, we have houses to sell, right? We have buyers that are looking for money, right? That's how we're contributing to this as well.
Yep.
So it's not a matter of we're not part of this charity.
No, that's a much larger contribution than writing a check.
Sure.
Right?
Gotcha. So I was thinking that, hey, we're starting this, we're helping the charity out. I mean, truly working for the charity. Right? This is hey, we've got other things that we can bring to the charity, and the charity's lending to our, right, helping them. So
And that's the piece that in the trenches doing the work is what's missing, and what comes out of Washington with these rules on how you do all this, and they don't say, because they don't know. They don't, we have to throw some money at it. Well, throw the money here. Right?
So a good example would be mobile homes, where it's hard to find lending on a mobile home. The charity could lend to people
buying mobile homes,
Mhm.
right? Because sometimes that's a problem for us to sell a mobile home because we can't find qualified buyers.
Mhm.
So we have to seller finance them, yada, yada, yada.
Mhm.
So that's.
So my Louisiana deals that I do that are in that kind of price point, we hold for a year plus, and then Evangeline Bank refis them out. They do cash out refis after that. I've got the lender that is serving that community in a specific need. So.
Do they do that in mobile homes? Do they do that in mobile homes?
Every house in Louisiana, you could take a skid steer and move. Nothing there is on a foundation because the water table goes up kind of high.
It may not have been mobile, but it is.
Yeah, it isn't where it started. I can't do mobile homes in Alexandria, Louisiana because I can buy stick built cheaper. Right? I can buy stick built cheaper than new mobile. No. All right, you done?
Okay, I know there's more questions, and we actually have to end for now. So
good gracious.
would you please give Steve a round of applause? We'll still be able to occupy the premises for a little bit, so if you do have questions, come up to Steve, talk to him. I think there's still food available, try and get that finished up. And if you have any networking to do, I know people are here to meet other people as well, so go ahead and spend some time getting that done as well. For next week, the session is about mindset. So I know this is something that you have to look at for yourself. Getting deals done is not just a one-off job. It's something you have to focus on. So I know Rich has had, along with Mark Pantak, a class previously. I don't know how many people in here have taken that. Okay, good. And what are the...
The director wants us to get.
Okay, so I'll okay.
Is that the sort of partner you're looking for?
So your mindset, now my mind is blank. Okay, I'll just let Rich talk about this next week then. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you, everybody.